Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Talking Wednesday podcast, soon to be the League One Talking Wednesday podcast.
God.
Did I say Talking Wednesday podcast? I think I just said Talking Wednesday podcast. If I didn't say that, I said a different podcast title. But yeah, I've just come off the back of a 2-hour live stream where my channel hit over 3,000 subscribers. Thank you very much. I do want to say that Punk has still got a channel, right? Because the thing is that one thing I have noticed is people go that this is our channel, and I'm like, this is our podcast. I've said that in the first 8 podcasts, but then I stopped saying it. But now we've got viewers coming in. Punk Chef 41 is linked to his actual channels in the description. Dexterity Box is my channel. We put the podcast on here because I came up with the idea for the podcast, and we obviously just brought Talking Wednesday. But Talking Wednesday is our collaboration. Just for some clarification, if you have found us both from this, if you want to see our individual content, Dexterity Box is me.
Punk Chef 41 is me.
Punk. Perfect. And obviously there's going to be Punk is very, very good on the match reviews and things like that. So
well, I am when I can pronounce a team. I don't think I can do today's team. If you see today's one, if you're watching this on Sunday,
so it'd be
the
Fridays,
Watford team was a shambolic performance from me trying to say their names.
Yeah, he actually said Foster as Forster. So he even got the very easy, very typical sort of names you'd find in just general, Britain. He even got those wrong once he started. He called him Forster. And I was like, mate, I know we spoke about Fraser Forster a little while ago, but he didn't have the best performance today, and neither did Sheffield Wednesday. But before we get into that, how's your week been, Jake? You all right?
Not too bad. A little bit of pain on my shoulder, but hopefully X-ray this week and I can find out how broken I am. I already know it's very broken, but I get an actual doctor's opinion. How's your week been?
All right. I've been. What have I done? Right. I always say this.
Again?
Yes. I've finished to a point. I've got them to masters my EP.
What did the EP you were meant to finish when you had that break and then you got the ear infection?
This EP, yeah. So I was meant to do all that. Sort of dragged my feet with it a little bit. Wasn't in the headspace to do it. I always get to a point where I write something and then I hate it, and that's why it never comes out. So I've got to the point where I've started to hate this. So I need to get it out. I need to just get it done because there's a lot of work. I've already sent it off to some people that I know in real life that I know have very specific opinions about certain styles of music, and they're helping me decide what the singles are going to be and stuff. Might even end up being our first sponsor on this channel to show what we can sponsor your things with if you provide us funds for guests and things like that. So I know a lot of people have actually asked about my band and stuff because we obviously know each other, so we've been talking about that side of it. So yeah, I've not specifically got a touring band at the minute because that doesn't exist, but I still obviously, with lockdown, I've done sort of like a 4-track EP that's pretty much been everything apart from one drum track was done during lockdown. Yeah. So it's kind of like I've put all this together and shelved all my other stuff. For
so you just got really creative during lockdown when I'm going to go ham on live streams, I'm going to do a podcast, I'm going to do music, and then I'm going to go back to work and go, oh no, I don't have time to do any of this.
Yeah, pretty much. That's how life's going to go. But no, it was... I'll be honest, I did this EP within about 2 months and then procrastinated for a good 8. And then came back to it because I work better on music when the sun's out. That's why we always go touring in the summer, all of that. Yep. So yeah, I'll be talking about that a little bit more.
Let's be honest, you were just playing Pokemon Go.
I can't go out my house, and the stuff that they brought inside was all right, but it's I was playing. I've platinumed a few games. I've platinumed over lockdown. I've platinumed not as much as I should do.
I mean, you got a PS5, didn't you? Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
and an Xbox. So yeah, you've been busy.
Yeah, well, I needed stuff for the channel. I needed a system in here. My PS4.
I needed a stuff for the channel. Air quotes. No, I wanted it.
let me back this up. Okay, by the way, to skip a bit ahead if you don't want our general chat, but this is our podcast and that sort of vibe. We're sitting in a pub with you. We're having a chat and a catch up. So I wanted a PS5 because my PS4 was on the last legs, right? And I'd never bought a console at launch. And then Xbox bought Bethesda. So I was like, right. Yeah, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, everything that I love is on there as single-player games. So I was like, well, I'm going to need to do that. But I also would could kind of do with having that monolith that's the Series X is really useful for portability, whereas the PS5 is a bit more delicate. So the PS5 stays in my system for when I'm playing on my own and chilling. But the Xbox, I've mainly gone to Xbox for videos now and FIFA and things like that for the channel because it's easier to move around using setups, and it's one of those, I've just got another hard drive for it, so I can actually externally record and bring some FIFA stuff out because we're going to be doing some more FIFA stuff going forward. If you didn't know, that was what the channel was about. But yeah, it's music, all of that. It sounds like I've been really productive, but a lot of it I've not been in the motivational space, so I've not been peachy. But if you think about it, we've been in lockdown for such a long time, and I've been back to work at bits, and I've been doing a lot of work from home and things like that. Some stuff wasn't always accessible, but I have had a bit more time. I've been on more of my schedule than I've ever been really since university. So it's been a case of being able to do that stuff has been cool. But I still wish I'd done more. And you come to that stage where you're like, oh, it's going to be a grind now. And it's going to be worse going back into the regular things because everything's going to be about catching up, and it's going to be brutal for a while. But how have you spent your lockdown? Well, you've got a channel over 1,000 subs now, mate. You're cracking on with it.
The channel hit over 1,000 during lockdown. Our lockdown was weird because my missus is the NHS staff, so everything been very strictly locked down in our household. She's had to have everything. So everything for us has been, she's done all the shopping, she's done this. You couldn't have the support for a while for the bubble, for my childcare. So it actually hit a hell of a lot on my health. If a lot of people don't know, I have something called functional neurological disorder, and I basically have 15 to 60 fits a day, and it's horrible. But when you don't have that support when you need it, especially with a 3-year-old, it's a nightmare. And she's very good at ruling the roost now, and I'm happy for it now. But to be fair, if everyone keeps doing what they're meant to be doing, we'll be out of this soon. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, it's hopefully going that way, and we can go. We can get back to things that people want. People want their lives back, and I get that. I want to travel a little bit more. I want to do all of that. I've got a lot. There's so much, but the thing is, it's going to be. I think it's going to be actually for a lot of people, it's going to be a harder year coming up because there's going to be a lot of expectation put on a lot of people's shoulders. But we thought we've got onto that. That's a good start to the podcast to get. But it's been a year since we all locked down, hasn't it? So it's.
Have we got any reviews from the last one?
I've just pulled one up while we were talking about all of that, so I managed to smoothly do that. Yes, we have one I didn't notice, the 31st of March. So one new review this week. Please help us on those reviews. With the audio is where we're lacking on this podcast, whereas everything else is absolutely booming.
On the review, think of it like YouTube. If you watch on YouTube, the like button. It's just the algorithm thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you want your moment on the podcast, leave a written review. But if you've not got time, just go to the podcast and click 5 stars. That helps us as well. But the written reviews are even better because you get them read, basically. So this is from Awugatam.
I'm glad you're reading that out.
Great podcast. A must for any Wednesday fan. I always look forward to listening to this podcast. It's very well balanced. It isn't just 2 guys ranting. Are you sure about that? Thank you. It has research topics and opinions. Onwards and upwards, I hope for you guys, just as I hope it is for Wednesday. Thank you so much. That's a really kind thing to say. We do put a lot of research into it as well. When we talk about players, we don't just pluck players out of a hat.
No.
We aren't just stack-based as well. We try and look where we can. So if we're ever suggesting our speculation topics, we do our homework behind the scenes, just so if you're ever wondering, you can take our view as researched on this podcast.
And while we're on this, big hats off for you on that edit of that last week podcast with the tail lift, because that was a mammoth one. You did a right.
Yeah, if you haven't gone over and seen that, please do go over and see that. I know a lot of people watched it live and really enjoyed it not live, but in the full podcast. We did a breakout of it, so if you just want to see that, I edited a lot of the waffle out of it and made it a very streamlined sort of 42-minute video because with that topic went on for over an hour, just over an hour. So I've cut about 18 minutes of us dragging a little bit.
But he didn't cut out his swear word at the end because he forgot.
Of the full podcast. No, yes, apologies. I want to say that. That's one last bit of housekeeping before we move on. I was so tired by the end of all of that. My channel, I have sworn in the past. I do swear. We all swear. Everybody swears. But I've tried not to on the podcast, and I try not to on my channel as much anymore, just because I'm very wary of people who say, I really enjoy your guys' content, but I've got little kids wandering about. If we have a guest on, we might swear, and we're not going to stop our guests from swearing. So I will probably put if we start swearing on a podcast, I'll probably put a thing in the front of that and watch it when the kids aren't about, sort of thing. But I do realise that I do try and cut it out usually if one of us swears, just so you're not 2 hours into a 2 hour and a half podcast and we effing blind round children.
As I said to Dex offline, it might be a t-shirt, that one, and me not being able to pronounce names.
Yeah, we're looking at merch options. We're looking at all of those. But enough waffle. We'll talk about we'll talk about the merch options, maybe potential going down that route for people who want it.
Shall we talk about Watford?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about Watford. So, as tradition dictates, Jake, Sheffield Wednesday played Watford today after quite a lengthy international break. How did you find that match?
I don't think Watford were that good, actually. I thought we gifted them a goal and didn't really turn up. You could tell it with two teams that had just come off an international break. One that was flying beforehand, and we were starting to pick up a gear. And there's certain things in that game where you're watching and saying, can you just move it a little bit faster at times? But what got me, and it always gets me, this was one of those games where you see how much work Barry Bannon does on and off the ball. And although people having to go at Pelupessy again, he had a blinder today. He was solid.
Yeah, the midfield was solid today. Reach disappointed me, and I don't usually say that.
Reach he just looked lost today, didn't he? He looked like
he looked done to me. He looked like he probably wasn't. It probably just an off day, but he looked like nothing was working for him.
I don't see him signing a new contract. I'll put it that way. No, I think he needs a new challenge. But the only thing I got with the game, the own goal, yes, it was disappointing. He could have left it and then it would have been offside. But
I can't blame him for that too much, because he goes in and tries to make it. If you're going to do that, so what happened? Wednesday lost 1-0, for those who don't know, to Watford by an own goal in the first half. Lees goes in. It's a really good cross, but the Watford player's offside, but Lees doesn't know that when he's going for the challenge fully, and he tries to clear it, fully expecting, because, can we be honest as well, the ref didn't know if he was... No. They ruled the goal out and then ruled it back in, because the ref and the linesman were having a chat with each other, because there is a thing, it's not offside, right, because Lees own goaled it and he played it to him, but if you are man-on-man with somebody and you are in an offside position and something like that happens, you can sometimes be told you're interfering with play from an offside position and things like that. And that's what I thought it got ruled out for.
I can understand why the players were upset at half-time and going, but when they watch that back, they'll go, no, it wasn't, kind of thing.
Yeah, but you do get... Does the interfering with... I still see rules given for interfering with play and things like that. So I thought they were ruling it out for that when they originally ruled it out.
And also, it was a very weird game because we didn't have Darren Moore in the touchline because he's tested positive for you-know-what. And we wish he gets better soon. It's the second time he's had a positive thing. He had it when he was at Donny as well and had to self-isolate. The only issue there with self-isolating, that takes him out of a couple of games for us, which are going to be much needed. And you saw during it, one of the coaches on the phone, obviously to Darren Moore, and Darren Moore going, "What are you doing? I want you to do this.
It was frustrating because there was a time in the first half. The first half we looked a bit lost for parts of it. The second half was much better. We came out, we were actually having chances and shots on target and things like that. The first half was the opposite of that. It was kind of like we were lost. We started and it didn't work. And there was players, I think Reach and somebody else, it might have been Bannon, were going over to the assistants when they got water. Yeah, with a water break and going, literally, what do? We can't break them down. We can't get a grip on this. And that's what you miss when your manager isn't in that dugout telling you what you do, because they're all waiting for what the manager's going to tell them to do, because he's watching it from remote. And I think that was a massive, massive blow to us today, because those players, when they played against Barnsley, they were playing for the manager in Darren Moore. We've heard interviews talking about how he's a man manager and players.
And you're hearing that players are saying they're running through brick walls at the minute for him. And there's a lot who are wanting to impress because they want a contract at the end of the season. Who may want to stay.
Who wants to stay.
I know a lot of the youngsters will be going. We have a lot of young players who are out who Championship might be a little bit a step up, but League One, they could be in the prime. to do well. The thing is, it's
a
always difficult.
Midfield of Joey Pelupessy and Barry Bannon in League One would be
insane.
It'd be like as unfair as Watford's front line is in the Championship.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know, Watford's attacking options. Let's be honest, Watford weren't great today. We had a lot of fans in the...
To be fair, we defended really well.
Yeah, but we didn't deserve to lose. The Watford fans in my stream were saying you deserve at least a point here. We've not been great. You know, and I agreed. It was hard done to, but that's the thing. I've been saying this. That's the story of Wednesday's season. That's all that's been happening. The luck has not been there for us.
No.
And when the luck has been there for us, we've not made it count. We've only got ourselves to blame.
And there's now
not us, obviously. We're just commentating on it, but the players.
But there's now only 2 points between us and bottom now. I think Wickham won.
You see, I've not even been looking down, but I don't think you're wrong either.
If Wickham won, I think there's only 2 points in it. I think they're on now 4.
We've got a game in hand on them. We've got a game in hand on them. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Are Sheffield Wednesday getting relegated? Let's look at what we've got going ahead, because this is becoming a very real thing now. I've said it for a couple of weeks, actually, but we've never talked about it as a specific topic on Talking Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday are currently on 32 points. Whenever you're watching this, you might be watching this after the Cardiff match, before the Cardiff match. It's been recorded before the Cardiff match, so it could be even worse than this. But from the current state...
as it stands, Birmingham hasn't played yet.
Yeah, Birmingham haven't played tonight. So let's go. Yeah. Let's go off the base of this is just after the Watford match. Sheffield Wednesday. We didn't expect too much today, but it looked like we deserved a point in the end, and we didn't get it. So that puts us 38 matches played, 6 points off Birmingham. Birmingham have got 38 matches played as well. However, if Birmingham play tonight with 39, they can actually go the 3 points ahead, and then we're catching up on games. You know, that puts us... Oh, God. Well, that puts them above Coventry. And then we're sort of 7-8 points adrift from it. And there's not much coming up. And Rotherham have got 3 games in hand on 35 points, 3 points ahead of us currently.
Just remember that Rotherham, they have a tough week. If they have a really bad week, there is a chance. But we have to start making our game count for us now.
Do you think we're going to get relegated?
Yeah, but we're going to be tight. I think it's going to be by the skin of that. It's going to be like by a small amount, in a sense, because you look how tight that is now. I think if we go on a run, we're out of it. Because I think Rotherham might slip up.
I think the most Sheffield Wednesday thing happens, right?
We go on a run and still go down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we go on a run and rue the rest of the season, because I reckon the Cardiff game will take that one out of the picture. Let's have a look what you've got there. So let's let's just scrap the Cardiff game. We've got QPR, Swansea, Bristol City, Blackburn Rovers, Middlesbrough, Nottingham Forest, and Derby County.
Right.
So that's 7 matches.
QPR got nothing to play for. They're solid in mid-table.
Yep.
Swansea want to keep up the run to keep in the playoffs. They're pretty much in it, but they want to have that kind of position. Mm-hmm. Derby could be a difficult one because they could get dragged into it. I think Forest are now safe. I don't know. I think Derby might be safe now, actually, looking at it. 43 points. That probably could be enough.
Yeah, and Forest are on 45, and there's...
Yeah. Oh, I don't like that.
Where are Bristol City? Bristol City can't do a promotion run, so they've got nothing to play for.
On the game
doesn't mean anything, though.
On the game where there's nothing to play for, that's the one where more should be going. They've got nothing to play for, we have, go for it. Kind of thing. And to be fair, and I know people say he should be doing that anyway. Yes, he should, but at the same time, it's a very difficult... People were expecting whoever came in, we were all expecting the new managers coming a lot earlier than he did actually come in. You bring more in January, we're not in this position, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't feel like we are either, because the way the players have reacted to him.
But the greens are too little too late, and that all goes on Chancery.
Yeah,
it's his
I agree. We're not ones to really hammer him on this podcast either, but you've got to make the call then. It probably wasn't available, but the Pulis situation was the wrong idea. I get bringing in a results manager, but that mistake has cost us our league status. You know, we're getting relegated because of it, probably.
Yeah.
I look at it and I do look. It's seven matches is
We needed 7 wins. At one point, we needed 7 wins to stay up. So basically,
it's 21 points to play for, mate. That's the thing that you look at that there. If you win them all, that's 21 points and we're sorted. But we're not going to win all of them.
The only thing we can hopefully rely on is Rotherham or Birmingham doing worse than us and we picking up points. And especially with Rotherham, with that week they've already got a red card today, so that's going to be bad. They pick up a load of injuries. That's a lot of tired legs in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, that's the thing I'm hoping from a Wednesday perspective.
I think we're relying on other people than ourselves.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Look at those fixtures for Wednesday and tell me how many points you think that is. So, we'll just say them again. It's QPR, Swansea, Bristol City, Blackburn Rovers, Middlesbrough, Nottingham Forest, and Derby County. 7 matches, 21 to play for. How many do you think it is?
10. A push.
10 if we... Yeah. Which would put us currently... getting rid of the Cardiff match. That one's the wild card. That would put us on 42 points, which would put us...
Huddersfield.
19th currently.
It's enough.
Which I don't think 10 points is enough.
It's enough when you look at it that way, but it won't be.
It's not going to be enough because I want to also bring you this. This is Birmingham's fixtures.
Go on.
Swansea.
Yep.
Brentford. Tough fixtures. Stoke. Another tough fixture. These are the ones we don't want. Rotherham.
Yep.
Birmingham play Rotherham, so that's a 6-pointer there.
Yep.
Nottingham Forest.
Another 6-pointer.
Derby County.
Fuck. Yeah.
Cardiff City and then Blackburn Rovers. So
our run in is it's the nicest, but not the nicest at the same time. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I reckon a solid Wednesday.
You win today, it changes it. You're in with a bigger chance.
With Watford, or you get a point, even if you get a point, yeah. I reckon myself...
It's going to be tight.
If we put a run together, I can see us beating Bristol City, Blackburn, Middlesbrough, and either Forest or Derby. I can see 12 points there.
This
side are capable of it.
What Wycombe's running, because they're starting to, even though they probably could do it, with them now a win today, they could be clawing at it to a point.
So Wycombe, oh, for God's sake.
Who they got?
Rotherham.
Yep.
Luton. Swansea. Bristol City. Cardiff. Bournemouth. Middlesbrough.
Oh. So
why have they got Rotherham? They've given Rotherham... They're either losing that or they're giving Rotherham the points there.
Yeah, but I think these are games that... Are these games that were cancelled by Rotherham?
Yeah, but they're the games in hand and Rotherham are already 3 points ahead. So technically, we want... If we're going to get results together, we want Wycombe to beat Rotherham.
Yeah, but the problem is if they beat Rotherham and we don't get our results, they're ahead of us.
Yeah. But if we don't get our results and they beat Rotherham, I don't care. We're that bad, right? That's on us. Okay? Because also, we do have a game in hand, actually. So, we do have a game in hand on Wycombe. So if they beat... If they beat Rotherham, they'll be on 33 points. We'll be on 32, but with a game in hand on Wycombe.
You know, the only thing that I saw with this Watford game today is you can tell Moore's been drilling them in training. There were certain things that you didn't see in that Barnsley game that you saw today that they're trying to work on. And that'll work eventually, but it could be too little too late.
Unfortunately, yeah. My gut is telling me, yes, this is a relegation season. I don't see enough of a fight back. With more out of the touchline, it's worrying. It would be absolute limbs at the end of the season if we can somehow pull this off.
There's just not enough goals in this team.
No. Jordan Rhodes is there, but we had about 3 chances today and he missed them all. And that was unfortunate. We needed him in prime form. And
you look at the bench, who comes on to change it?
A big thing about this as well is how Birmingham get on. So it's in Birmingham and Rotherham's hands. Maybe Coventry. Let's have a quick look at the Coventry run-in. So Coventry, have obviously lost 3-0 to QPR. We say QPR have got nothing to play for. They have just beat Coventry 3-0 with nothing to play for. And we've got QPR coming up. So let's have a look at their running. Watch them play Rotherham as well. Right.
They don't.
Coventry play Bristol City.
Yeah.
Then Bournemouth. Then Rotherham.
Oh, no! Rotherham are going to be the ones who send us down, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, no!
It's coming in it though. It's been awful this season, and they've never had that sort of bragging, right?
And they did the double over us,
so they can have it. To be honest, because this Wednesday have been so crap. I don't care about the rivalry anyway because I don't see one there. But how crap we have been this season, it's probably going to be written like that. Yeah. Then they've got Coventry, have got Barnsley, then Stoke, then Preston, then Huddersfield, then Millwall.
Oh, so before we go on, and you just remind me, what's your thought on Preston getting rid of Alex Neil?
Come back to that one. We will come back to that one, actually. We'll do that as the next topic. But in terms of relegation, I do feel like there is a slim chance we can get our way out of this. But I've been saying for a couple of weeks, it just feels like there's nothing there from the players. And Cardiff's going to be a big one. By the time you watch this, if you're not watching it on the day it comes out, you might already know if you're watching this as a breakout, the Cardiff results probably been and gone.
Finger crossed we can do something, but it's going to be tough.
No, I think this will probably be posted on Monday night, actually, if I time it well. If we lose, this is probably going up straight afterwards. So let us know, are Wednesday getting relegated in your opinion? It's looking likely to us, but it could.
It's going to be tight.
It's rough. Tight and rough at the minute.
It's going to be very tight. But who goes down, who goes up this season, it's going to be really tight. Playoffs and relegation. If we weren't in the situation that we're in, I'd like it because I like watching tight relegation. But because we're in it, I hate it.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrible. Okay, so we'll move on to Alex Neil. What like you just said quickly. I think it's short-sighted because he's done all right there. You know, I don't think I've not really got too much. I like to properly research subjects like this, but I was shocked by it. I did think he's done quite well at Preston, and Preston have always been a solid championship side. But if they can kick on, they can kick on.
With how long he's been in charge and the timing of it, it's just timing. Why just give him till the end of the season?
Yeah, let him. Yeah, because he can't even see the fans again.
He's going to be mid-table.
A lot of fans, a lot of clubs are also getting rid of managers that are well liked in fan bases. While fans aren't in, so they get less stat.
Yeah, it's a weird one at the minute with fans not being in and stuff. And to be fair, you could say fans in the stadium could have helped Wednesday.
Fans in the stadium, Wednesday don't get relegated. I've said this on the podcast before because a lot of our goals conceded have been from sloppy defensive tracking back. Yeah. You get screamed at in a stadium when you do that. It's not been there. It's just been like a training session. You
get Mick down the road who coaches his under-7 going, track back, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, exactly. You get if there's man on and there's an urgency there because you do not want to have that fan base on your back for 90 minutes, you know. So, yeah, that's that one. But yeah, those topics, by the way, weren't even in the podcast. Let's actually start the proper news podcast now. This is the news part.
Sorry about that.
Not a lot of news this week. Not a lot of community topics. Please find the community link again. There was 3 in there before we closed the document this week, and they were great.
We know it was international break, and people go a bit off Wednesday because there's nothing to talk about. But please, it helps.
But we also try and help. We want to make this very much an interaction podcast. So we're definitely we definitely want your community topics in there, and when it's a slow news week, they're really helpful. But yeah, there's some good ones in there in the 3 that were posted, but I think I might have used one of them because and I had to go back through the older ones because there were topics that would be quite big and quite researched, and as I said, we try and make sure we research our topics when we bring them in, so they'll be banked for future episodes. Okay, first order of business. We're going to bring you an update on Kadeem Harris's contract and injured players situation as we go into the latter end of the season. So, from the Star, quoting Yorkshire Live, quoting each other now, Harris said, there's not been an update really, we're still in the same position, when in reference to his contract. You hear a lot of things about rumours about clubs being interested in you when you are a free agent, end quote. Moore also mentioned that they're focusing on the games at the minute and the out-of-contract players. It's very up in the air with all of that. That's basically, Moore did a press conference, wouldn't talk about that. You're getting a standard thing with contracts. Pelupessy's been talking about his contract. We're going to talk about Pelupessy a little bit later on. It's a bit of a bigger one there. All up in the air. There's a lot of out-of-contract players. I know a lot of people are wanting to see them out the door, but we'd bring that up. He has been talking about his contract. It does seem like players are on media duty and sort of towing the line and not... They're interviewing a lot of out-of-contract players and they're being careful what they say.
Yeah.
In my opinion. So, Darren Moore's been speaking to the press about injured players. I'm taking a lot of these from Yorkshire Live's transcription of it. So Sam Hutchinson, Fisayo Delabashiru, Juice Van Aken. Darren Moore said he's pleased to say they're all back in training. Adebayo and Cameron Dawson will probably be back on the training ground and running in the next 2 weeks. That means they're out for the season. And that means they're out for the season along with Luongo and Iorfa. So we're not seeing Adebayo play for us again because I reckon he's off. I don't think we'll carry on with his contract because of his injury record.
I think we possibly will see Iorfa, but he may go in the summer in terms of like back end of the transfer window to fit. The only reason Iorfa won't go if people don't want to take a risk on what his injury was, because it was a big injury. And it's one of those injuries where you get it once and you don't come back the same player.
My hope, if Iorfa's going, is we keep him and we keep him fit in the first half of League One and we sell him in January for bigger money. Or he decides that actually, no, we're in the top two or in the high end of the playoffs in the League One. He's like, you know what, I'm enjoying my football. I'm going to stick around here for a little while. But then again,
he's another player that we brought in who wasn't getting looked at his club and he's been playing.
We do resurrect players' careers and they don't benefit us.
We don't seem to be able to like go, hey, here's a sell-on fee, you go.
It's just
a hint, Chansiri. Sell-on fees help.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've got one with Zhao and stuff as well.
Longo. The start of the season, we were all singing his praises.
Say that again.
Shut up.
No, say that again.
Longo. No.
Longo.
Longo.
Luongo.
Right. During the summer, I'm
helping. I'm not being a snarky git. I'm helping. Luongo, try it.
Luongo.
There you go. A little bit more of the ooh in there. There we go.
But at the start of the season, we were all singing him out. He was that player in the middle of the park that you weren't talking about because he was just doing his job and he gets a really bad injury. And is he out of contract or has he got a year left?
A year, I think. I don't know if it's the exact year, but he's not out of contract.
He could be decent in League One then.
Oh, he could be decent in the Championship. I think a lot of us are forgetting that he was like, people were going, oh my God, it's like if Pelupessy actually did his job. Pelupessy started doing his job now. People really liked Luongo, and I think he's
He's one that keeps
people. I saw someone saying, is he going to be the new Abdi? And I was like, well, he's already played more than Abdi, I'm pretty sure. So
yes, he has.
I don't think that's going to be the same situation.
Has anyone caught him smoking yet and put it all over the Twitter?
Do you know what? I saw Abdi in when I was at a match, and he was just walking down, the steps near the Don.
Yes.
That stand. And he was walking down the steps and just next to me, and I sort of like double took because I was like, I recognise this person, but I don't know where they're from. And then I realised it was an Alman Abdi who'd not been playing for Wednesday, and he was just in casual clothes, just getting ready to go back in.
The only thing I remember about Abdi is that goal he scored against Forest, which was an absolute screamer.
I just remember broken promises. Okay, so
that just
they're your injury players. We've got a lot of players out. It'd be good to see Delabashiru get some games. I'd like to see something from him before the end of the season because I think he's a very promising player. He's on a big contract as well. He's on is he signed a 3 or a 4 year deal or something?
It's a 3 to 4 year deal, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's a 3-year deal with an option of a year.
Well, Monk liked what he saw when he saw him. And I like what we see. We're just not seeing enough. He was always put as this player that's one for the future, and it's now going to be, no, you're one for next season.
Yeah,
Minimum.
and it'd be interesting because they'll be like, oh, why? I am telling you, if this lad doesn't kick on straight away, he's going to be the next scapegoat in the fan base.
Yes.
We've heard so much. He was promised. He wasn't promised anything. He was one for the future, but like it's going to be one of those.
In the summer, on that aspect, when we've got videos we need to do, we'll try and do who we think will be the next scapegoat person in the Wednesday.
Yeah, that'd be a good topic, actually, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we do like a scapegoat. Last year it was New Hugh, this year it's Pelupessy.
Last year it was New Hugh. Do you mean the last 4 years were New Hugh?
Well, yeah. Even when he got 13 goals.
Yeah, definitely. He's no, people liked him that season. Then he went back to being crap the next season. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we have seen an old Wednesday legend, not an old Wednesday legend. Obviously, he's not old, but an older generation of Sheffield Wednesday legend. That's what I was looking for. Thank you very much. Chris Waddle has been doing cameos, having small pots of Chancery there, but it's expanded recently, and the Daily Mail have been quoting him saying, I'm gutted for the punters. Chris Waddle, legend of Wednesday's early 1990s heyday and the resident of the city, tells Sportsmail. They deserve so much better, and it would be nice to see the people at the top put their hands up. This is not about Darren Moore, Tony Pulis, or even Gary Monk. It's about Chancery. He needs to admit he's made a mess of the club. He threw his eggs in one basket when he came in, making a big statement, signing players for good money. They reached the playoffs for 2 years, but since then it's been disastrous. It's gone from bad to worse. No investment, changing managers, no structure. It's been run like a carry-on film. Look at Wolves and you can see the level of investment needed to produce a very good Premier League team, adds Waddle. The chairman can't provide that. He would have been carried shoulder high in the city if he'd taken them back to the Premier League, but to be heading into League One is a joke. He's got to put the club first and move on, but he's stubborn. I can see Wednesday being another Bolton or Wigan. Right, okay. A few things to break down in here. First of all, great to see Chris Waddle still got such a passion for the club. I absolutely love that. The one thing I will say, it's a little bit difficult here. I'm going to pick out the one criticism I've got of this, and the rest is just going to be us discussing this as a topic. So, saying what Wolves did and then saying what we did, and we were sort of like bringing in players for good money and then saying no investment, it's a little bit chalk and cheese, that statement, then saying, look at how Wolves did it when you need all that investment. Because Chancery, I think this is probably what he's getting at. Chancery did chuck that kind of money at it, but put it in the wrong areas.
Yes.
Wolves spent an absolute fortune. And if it hadn't worked and they hadn't gone straight up, they'd be
gone right now. Financial fair play would have got them up the wingman.
Yeah, they spent so much money.
And they had a lot of good Premiership loans. And like you had Portuguese national players playing for Wolves in the Championship, and like, what's going on here?
Definitely. I do agree. I know
do get what he's saying.
The reason I'm bringing this up is because he clearly he probably knows more about the club than your regular Joe hears as well. So he knows there's something there with Chancery. Talks about his stubbornness. We all know that in the fan base. Yep. The one thing I wanted to pick out from him, and it's really good to see him talking about Wednesday, is the fact he says, I can see Wednesday being another Bolton or a Wigan. Now, this is something I've worried about for a little while.
We discussed on and off close to this. And if you look at Wigan only just got taken over this week.
Do Wednesday only become another Bolton or a Wigan, though? Looking at it from the other side, if we can't find investment, because that's the thing. Like, if Chancery pulls out, is that when you become the other Bolton or the Wigan?
Well,
if he downs tools and stops putting any money into the club?
This is the problem you got. You keep talking about looking for investment. He blames the fans for not getting a massive sponsorship. Well, where's the proof? What was the sponsorship? Had the sponsorship come out? We don't hear enough about what that side of trying to get a sponsorship or investment is. And I think whatever investment sometimes comes in is family members going, can you put a bit? I don't know. It's speculation on my part.
But a couple of weeks ago, mate, though, we were looking at this and we're saying he's not got the investment, and we're talking about becoming a Bolton or a Wigan. That only happens if he lets the club fall and he doesn't invest in the club. In the accounts, he's stated he's going to bankroll the club going forward. And that's a case of like, that's where I'm like, well, he is still putting the money in, so we aren't going to sink to that level of bottom of the league. My worry is, and this is my big worry with it, the more we call him out, if he leaves us at the wrong point, and we don't have, if he leaves us at the wrong point, and we could fall into admin with the bills not being paid, things like that. We get the wrong kind of owner in that. We get one of those firms that just kind of wants to consolidate. It ends up debt. You go into. I am worried about that as a bigger picture, right?
You've got to catch 22 with Chansiri. Chansiri is the only thing keeping the club afloat at the minute. He's the only thing bankrolling it, but he's also got to. In that statement, it says him being stubborn, and he is, and he got to communicate more with the fans, because I don't want to know the full ins and outs, but if there's anything the club can do to get like local businesses to invest or something, stop going out for the multi-million kind of thing. Yeah, they're great, but maybe having something from the local community might be better.
Not enough money in it though, is there?
No, there isn't, but
to balance the books, and that's what he's looking for.
But how does he balance the books now? Because you then got to turn around to an investor and go, hey, you want to invest into League One club? Championship, you're one step from Premiership. You could get it next season. Now you've got to say, well, we're 2 steps from the Premiership now. We could have a really good promotion. It's like, and if you don't,
you got to add Bury to that mix as well, though. You know, the ones we're talking about. Like, if we're looking at those players, Bury don't exist anymore.
No. Macclesfield, I think Macclesfield had problems as well.
It's
the stupid thing is that financial fair play was meant to stop this. This was the whole point of financial fair play. We want to see less clubs going out of business. There's been more clubs than I ever know go out of business, and that's not due to a pandemic. These are clubs pre-pandemic.
Yeah, it's. I'm just looking into the Bolton one because they hit the hard side of this. Because they hit the finances.
It was Ken Anderson that was in charge of them, wasn't it? And then he kind of pulled the plug.
Well, I'm looking at the history here, right? And the worrying sign is how it started in like 2015 when you started hearing about it. Because the first thing to happen to Bolton before the decline, as it started to rear its head, was they got hit with a transfer embargo. And they talked about in the near future, if we do this right, we can sort of sort out financial fair play.
How many transfer embargoes we have now? Like 2 or 3? Also, remember,
2.
Forest had an embargo before they got retaken over by the Greeks when they have Fawaz, and they were looking like they could have gone down, but they had to get saved by a new owner coming in and bailing out.
God, I'm reading quotes from this. This is an article from Sports Mall that says, this is from the time, the original time of Bolton declining. It said, until both the short and longer term funding issues the club are currently facing are resolved, the directors will not be in a position to sign the accounts.
Did that just copy and paste from like a Wednesday thing? And we just
that's the thing.
That sounds very, very familiar.
It's the worrying thing. This is the worrying thing, right? The only thing keeping us afloat is the investment that Chansiri's talking about, by the looks of it. And I don't obviously want us to be stuck in a situation with an owner that sort of like is just keeping us afloat and putting it into it and making the wrong decisions. But I also worry I worry on both sides. And there is one man that has put us in this situation. It is the owner. And I would like to see him take a little bit of responsibility from it. So going back to Chris Waddle's point, I would like to see the responsibility.
But this isn't the first time a legend of the club had come out. This is like the third or fourth. Carlton Palmer come out and said it before. Brian Laws has said it before. Terry Curran said it before. I believe you've had people like Dev Walker, like Pat, who come out. Everyone can see what the issue is. And you either... But the thing is, we'd all said for ages, he needs footballing people around him, not business people. And this
could be tried.
There's only so much we can keep going over it because we've done this to death. And
we haven't really. I know we have privately, but like we haven't on the podcast. We've talked. We've talked about Chansiri a lot, but with the way I'm looking at it now, right? I've grown up with Wednesday not being the side. It's funny. This comes from a Waddle thing. I never got to see Waddle play. Right? I was born. I was. By the time I was going to Wednesday matches, we were already in League One. So I've kind of been a fan from the crap to Chancery being the height of it. But to think that if this goes wrong, we could end up in a situation where we just collapse and become that team that, Wigan looked to like be re-solidifying. They've been taken over and doing it that way. But like, if you look at Bolton's situation,
look how long Wigan taken. It's taken a full season.
Sunderland in League One as well. Do you know what I mean?
They've got a billionaire owner now, haven't they?
Yeah, they've got the right owners.
Well,
it's just a scary thought to think of. Like, a lot of people often call Wednesday a sleeping giant. They've been sleeping for as long as I've been living, and it's.
Is it like 22 years now?
If this does go the way of Bolton Wigan with the finances in League One, it could be another 25 years, or the worst could happen and the club could evaporate.
The only saving grace we got this season that there's not cap in League One, League Two next season.
That's not because we want to sign a load of players. It just means we're not going to be in a case where we have to just mutually terminate a load of players because we can't pay them. We will be able to try and hold them for a bit and get fees.
Yeah.
But financially, I can see as if we're going down, there's going to be a lot of players that get the wage cut off. We looked into the accounts. You can find the final account down episode. We went through for about an hour talking about the accounts and breaking down what we thought certain players were on and stuff. So if you want a bit more information, go and find that. But
I've seen people turn around and say that 8 million isn't a lot of money, like in TV rights. It is a hell of a lot of money when the only chance here is.
It is when it's all about balance sheets.
Yeah.
And that's what football is at the minute. But yeah, it's a worrying time to be a Wednesday fan, and the old legends of the game of classic Wednesday, classic high flying Wednesday are saying the same now. So we move on to a player that could stay. It's looking like we've looked at a lot of out-of-contract players. This player has spoken better than any of the other players when it comes to talking about contracts. So this is Joey Pelupessy. Hey, haters of Joey Pelupessy, it's the third episode we've been talking about him now because he's relevant again. Feel free to skip over this section. I've purposely not broken out Joey Pelupessy's topics.
Smart man.
Not because of what we'd get. I don't give a crap about that. But I am sick of seeing on every comment section for Joey Pelupessy the amount of crap he gets. I've said it before. He's become vastly one of our most improved players. And I'm not even saying like he's just, as I said on stream, he's not just got a little bit better and he's still absolutely awful. He is solid. He could go to many championship clubs. I believe that there's a lot of mid-table, upper end clubs that could look for somebody who comes in, and the way he breaks up play, his interceptions now, and he does the dirty work well, but he's brought that going forward into his game, which we never saw from him before. A lot of players, a lot of clubs in the Championship will be sniffing around him, I believe, at the end of this season. So let's talk about him speaking ahead of Watford. He's been on the media duty again, and it seems the club have actually realised the importance of this man currently, and they can see how well he speaks, so they're putting him at the forefront of stuff.
I was actually quite shocked how well he speaks, kind of thing, because it's not what you expect.
Well, you never really hear him. He seems like you think he's going to be really quiet. You didn't actually see how much of a positive player he is and a positive influence he seems to be. So, in regards to contract talks, this is from Yorkshire Live. Quote, no, we've not had them yet. I can't say much about that. Let's see. I'm always open to listening if they want to talk to me. I respect every decision they make about me. End quote. He then went on to talk about the club and his relationship with it. Quote, I really feel at home. I know everyone around the club. I am really happy here. This is my first club outside of my country, so it will always be special when I think about this club, end quote. There is signs in there that you could say that, well, maybe he's looking at options too. It'd be stupid not to look at other options now as well. That's the thing. If there's options in for him career-wise, that makes sense, especially with the amount of abuse he's given. You know, one player I will not have a pop at if he leaves is Joey Pelupessy, because he has been abused more than most players. Do you know? Nuhiu and Pelupessy were players I was like, you know what? You're not getting any abuse, because they were the fan base. They were the scapegoats. Joey Pelupessy's the new Nuhiu. This is the interesting part. He was asked about staying even if we dropped, which is the kind of like, oh, maybe he really is keeping his options on the table. But players can say, anything as well. There is that side of it. But, quote, 100%, Sheffield Wednesday is always an option for me. I really appreciate they gave me the opportunity to come and play in England. I am really happy at this club. I feel at home. I have nothing to complain about. I am happy here. If they want to talk about the future, I will always listen. End quote.
And he didn't take much when he signed his new contract at the start of the season. He was just happy being where he was.
Yeah. I just think it's I think if we give him a good deal and playing time and he likes Darren Moore and he gets on with us, I think we could sign, I think he'd be a solid bit of business.
And I really do. I also think he will be another one of those players that you hear about when the rain, come on. Gary Monk broke up that team and you heard about certain players going out who were big characters and then you lost it. I reckon he's a big character in that dressing room.
Yeah. He seems to get on with everyone, apart from Windass that time, but they seem to be best mates again now if you look at the Instagrams. He also speaks about, this is the probably saving grace. He also spoke about how he rarely looks at social media. And I've put, that's probably for the best.
Yes.
Because if you look at every comment section, it's very easy to see who watches the matches and who doesn't when it comes to Joey Pelupessy. You can jump on the odd Sky match and he doesn't have the best game and you can see it. That's the same thing. I've watched every match apart from possibly, I think I've watched every match apart from one cup match this season.
And I've streamed pretty much, yeah.
I've streamed 80% of those, right? Yeah. Live with everybody else and talked about what I've been seeing going on there. Joey Pelupessy is genuinely a player that we should be keeping hold of right now. We talked about it in the contract situation. If you don't think that, I don't know what you've been seeing on the pitch if you've been watching the matches.
He's in the same category that people have with Bannon. And funnily enough, they're both in the midfield. The people that will go, Bannon, what did Bannon do? Bannon shouldn't be in the squad kind of thing. We should move on. Pelupessy kind of gets the same kind of thing. What's he doing there? But the moment Pelupessy does something great, i.e. like in the Barnsley game, to get that ball to Windass, nobody mentioned that. It was all about Windass and Rhodes. But he did all the hard work to get that ball. If that was Mass, start of the season, people go, that's amazing. He's done really well there. But because it's Pelupessy, he doesn't get that praise.
No, yeah, it's because everybody was raving over Luongo, and Pelupessy's become what we saw from Luongo in the same position. It's almost as if he's taken the attacking style of Luongo's game and he's brought it into his own, and I like that. I like to see the way he's linking up the play in the midfield.
And he's tracking back when he needs to get back. He's quick and he's
for the
strong.
next couple of maybe we need to. For the next 2 seasons, I could happily have Pelupessy and Bannon as our midfielders. Where we need to improve is our clinical front in front of goal, because the amount of through balls we get through with Bannon and Pelupessy in there, Pelupessy's really good at breaking up the play. Banner's got a ping on him for a through ball. We don't have the service through the middle problem. Our middle are actually our strength at the minute. Our midfield is our strong point.
It used to be really, really strong. It used to be a little bit
in the Carlos era. We were crying out for like midfield options that were consistent. And I know Bannon was part of that, but we never seemed to have like a partner with him that. It was always somebody was defensive, but it was sometimes Hutch coming into it and getting a red or getting cards. And
we struggled because we never really managed to find a replacement for Lopez. Lopez was key, and we never managed to replace him, and we never managed to get it sorted.
If Pelupessy had been on loan this season, people would be crying about him not signing on next year. Look at it like that. If you'd watched all those matches and seen this guy, if you'd taken his career and put it just to this season with Wednesday, people are viewing very differently.
I can see the comment section now.
Yeah. well, let us know what you think on Joey Pelupessy. But I reckon the block button will be used. So, next up, we have got the Championship Funds bailout. Just a brief thing I'm going to read you here. We're not really going to go into it too much, but this is from Sky Sports. Clubs in the Sky Bet Championship are set to benefit from a new $117.5 million funding package agreed by the EFL with American insurance firm MetLife. Lovely.
And we won't be there. Bye.
A total sum will be made available to the 24 clubs through loans to ensure they meet the payment deadlines as they approach the end of the season, overshadowed by a protracted absence of matchday spectators. Second-tier clubs have lost approximately $150 million in gate receipts and missed out on other matchday revenue streams since the coronavirus pandemic gripped the world of football. Yeah, it's loans, which is not great, so it's not really a bailout. It's stuff that clubs are going to have to pay back eventually. It's a mess, but it's something there for Championship clubs. But as Punk says there, it might not be relevant to us at all. But yeah, I thought we'd bring it in there. There is a bailout plan in place. It's not as charitable. It's very business based. It's an American insurance firm, for Christ's sake. You know what they're like. So we'll see how that one develops. Another one, same thing. We got this in our comment section last episode, and
was it Phil by any chance?
I don't know. I don't know. Phil's very active. Hi, Phil. How are you doing?
Hello.
But it's UEFA scrapping FFP, and that's the thing. Have you heard they've scrapped FFP? They've not scrapped FFP, right? I'm going to read you this. This is from The Guardian. Quote, football's financial fair play rules are to undergo dramatic change with the key break even measure declared purposeless by UEFA. With the COVID-19 crisis very different from anything we have had to tackle before. According to officials, they believe new rules should concentrate on clubs, wage levels, and the scale of fees in the transfer market. The pandemic has generated a revenue crisis and had a big impact on the liquidity of clubs, he said. The crisis is very different from anything we have had to tackle before. In such a situation, obviously, clubs are struggling. They have difficulties in complying with their obligations. I think in general, rules must always evolve. They have to adapt the context in which clubs operate. The break-even rule, the way it works now, looks backwards. It performs an assessment of the situation in the past, looking at profit and loss over the last 3 seasons. The pandemic represents such an abrupt change to looking at that, the past becoming purposeless. So maybe the rules should have a stronger focus on the present and the future, and should definitely have a stronger focus on the challenges of the high levels of the wage and transfer market. The solution of this is not easy. Right. A lot of that is what this person would like the financial fair play to work like.
Before we
what is basically
happened as an EFL thing, it doesn't work. Let's face it.
No. It doesn't work. We've said this countless, but what it means is basically they are going forward, they're going to be a little bit more lenient. It's getting scrapped, air quotes, in terms of it's not going to be as punishable during the COVID crisis for people. No. They're going to consider that in the accounts, things like that.
To be fair, and it wasn't that kind of punishable before, because Chelsea and Co. and they just got away with it, didn't they?
What people are missing this is UEFA are scrapping FFP. We don't get sanctioned by UEFA, right? So we should not assume that it's going to be the same with the EFL. It's likely not. So Kieran Maguire, speaking to Football Insider, seems to back up our view here that we shouldn't assume it's for the EFL. Quote, I don't think we'd see huge reckless spending in the lower leagues because the UEFA rules wouldn't necessarily be brought into the EFL. It would be a decision that ultimately would be voted by owners, and you need a 2/3 majority to get it passed. There are sufficient numbers of clubs in the EFL who want some form of financial constraint because they are already losing money on a regular basis, and in order to be competitive with the big spending teams, they themselves would have to spend a lot more. And in the EFL, there is a much greater chance of clubs going into administration, as we've seen.
Yeah.
End quote. So that's what we've seen there. That's pretty much how we see it. It's probably not going to translate to the EFL. I think they will. I think they'll be a little bit more lenient with the EFL rules as UEFA, but it's not going to be scrapped. In my opinion, financial fair play needs rethinking in general going forward anyway.
It does.
We've beat the drum about this a lot.
Any kind of talk about the finances in EFL Championship, go listen to Kieran Maguire podcast. Go read his stuff. He knows what he's talking about. If there's a person you want to understand the finances in football, it's him. He's the go-to person. If you've ever read his book, it's on Amazon. Search your name. It's a fascinating read into the money of football. It really is.
Yep. And talking about more money in football, let's talk about agents and their fees. So, look, Wednesday are spending less on agents' fees. It's funny that when that happens when you don't sign any bloody players. So, Wednesday have only spent £722,988 on agents' fees.
Can I just say, I like this table because we're not relegated on this one.
No, we're not. so we've got a fees table. Do you know why we're not relegated in this table? It's in alphabetical order. That's the only way we're not getting relegated, mate.
Oh, crap,
it's not in money order.
I noticed that. I thought it was in...
No, it's not in money order. It's in... So let's look at some of the big spenders on agents' fees. Bournemouth, $5.5 million. Norwich, 6.8 million.
Bloody hell,
Reading, 2.6 million. Stoke, 3 million. Swansea City, 2.1 million. Watford, 2.1 million amongst there. Do you know what those players are doing that Wednesday aren't?
Go on.
Performing well. So I don't really give a crap about agents' fees if it's looking like you're going to get promoted.
To be
Just saying.
fair, looking at Nottingham Forest one, they spent all theirs on right backs and left backs. Just saying.
Yeah. Nottingham Forest is 2.1 million.
Yeah.
Forest didn't even see that. Jesus. Derby, $1 million. Luton Town, 435,000. Wickham, £126,000.
Jesus. But yeah, doesn't.
And we're only 2 points above them. Oh God.
Who the hell did we pay for agents this year then? Windass agent might take of it.
Windass, Deli Basharoo, Man City Academy agent probably. Patson.
Yep.
Dunkley.
Yep.
Do you pay agents fees for loans?
Not really.
Okay.
That'll be signed in summer. Right.
We didn't sign a lot of players.
No, we didn't.
We've signed Andre
Fully
Green.
enough, I can understand why we haven't. With the position win, I can see why we didn't sign a lot of players.
Yeah, no, we've not been in a great situation. No. But yeah, there we're not. I don't think we spent much on agent fees because we haven't signed a lot of players. That's the end of that topic.
If you remember 2015, 2016 and 2016, 2017, we were top of that list and we were looking at getting promotion. That's why I put it in, because at one point we were the team that was out spending. And at one point people were like going, why are we spending all this money on agents? Well, they need
we're
to
signing
get
a lot
their
of players.
Yeah.
Yep. And a lot of players and a lot of money. Moving on to community topics. As we said, there weren't a lot of them today. These aren't going to take very long. The community tab exists. If you want to be featured on this podcast, go there, please. It's
you
on
were doing
youtube.com.
very, very well.
Yeah. You have to be a subscriber to Dexterity Box. Click my channel. Go across. Click community. It's there. I post it every week. Some days, I forget to post it until like 2 days before. So I'm like, please submit these in the next sort of 18 hours. And usually it's really good, but this week everyone was just like,
this week I actually nearly posted it and I went, hang on, I'm on the podcast, what am I doing?
Well, yeah, you are. People question why you're a member of the channel as well, so you get grief for all that.
Yeah, just to address that, I like supporting my friends. Dex is a friend, so I support him. Simple as.
And I will, when you get memberships, I'll be a member on your show. It's the way it works, it's one of those. So we're just supporting people. And memberships are available, by the way. I don't know if you said that. Click join below, and all the stuff from that will be going towards the
very
podcast.
Smooth plug. Well done, mate.
Pretty much. Thank you very much.
Like
podcast costs money. Channels cost money. Yeah, innit? So I just said innit. Oh my God, I'm a 13-year-old chav again.
Well, I did say your quiff might be coming back, so.
Well, hang on. The quiff wasn't chav era, Jake. The quiff was prime James era, before James put on after uni weight. I had when I was in like year 7, I had like short hair with blonde highlights in it. That was the fashion.
Oh God, were you looking like something out of NSYNC?
No, I was just looking like a proper little chav, because it was the time when like being a chav was cool.
Yeah,
and I stopped this. I actually remember, like, I didn't want to fit in with the because, like, people would, if you didn't have like a Mackenzie jacket or Lacoste shoes or something, you weren't part of the cool culture, because it was cool to look like a chav. So the thing is, though, I remember I used to just like really enjoy practical school slip-on shoes because I can't be arsed. And I ditched some Lacoste that I bought to fit in for these, and I got so much grief for it. I was like, I just kind of just want to chill and be comfy. And then now I'm an adult and I wear wacky things, and it's
I had it at my school. I was one of the first lads to have long hair, and it was blonde. It was like really like surfer blonde. I got ripped for that, and then about 3 years later, the same lad that ripped me had long hair and then went to have dreadlocks.
Oh, it happens. I had I mean, it didn't help because I was a very fat and ugly child. But it's like, it was I did the there was a phase in like year 9 and 10 where I had like a long sort of black hair, and I put red in it and everything, and we went for. I was prime like
chick.
emo phase. Yeah. You know when that first became a proper thing. That was my era.
With your My Chemical Romance t-shirt on.
And then after that, I grew up, and then I just sort of went to normal hair, and then I got a quiff, and then I realised that in my 20s.
By the way, if he hit 5k by the end of the year, that quiff comes back.
God's sake, that's not been said on anything other than the stream. Now more people know. Yeah, so I said that if we get to 5k by Christmas by some imaginary miracle, I'll go back to a quiff. Shortly. I ain't keeping it, but we will do the quiff. Anyway,
to community topics.
Jake Atkinson says, would you be happy to move away from Hillsborough one day, or would you rather them just knock the West Stand down? Cheers, love the pod. Thank you, Jake. I know I said they need to expand. They need to actually get permission. This is going to annoy a lot of people, but they need to get permission to knock the houses down and expand out.
It's a hard one because you can't expand where you are, but land in Sheffield to build a new stadium is like hard. It's not as easy as you think it is.
It will happen. I'm saying now, people will not give up their houses around there.
No.
So they will not be able to expand. And when we get an owner that wants to take us to the Premier League, Chancery's already dabbed with it, but I swear to God, if we'd have got to the Premier League in that 15-16 season, right?
We were a new stadium.
We would have been building a new stadium.
Yeah.
If we'd have sustained our Premier League status.
It's a difficult one because it's where you put it. It's got to stay somewhere around Hillsborough, personally. And there isn't a lot of building places. And the fact that Sheffield United
it's all on hills, funnily enough.
Yeah, and
it's not ideal.
The fact that Sheffield United Training Academy is this side really angers a lot of people.
Just knock it down. Just be like, oops!
Oh dear, was that your bit of land? We didn't realise.
No,
it's a difficult one because you're not going to pay the people off to expand it. For houses, it's going to be a lot of money, and there's a generation that just won't give the houses up for a football ground. But there's also a lot of people who move into those houses like, I hate the noise of this football ground, I hate the traffic. It's like, well, the football ground was here before you moved in.
Those people annoy me as much as the people that buy houses on well-known student streets next to universities and complain about students. Like, get a grip, right? So, like, when I went to university, I
didn't realise they were going to trigger you that much.
It frustrates me, right? If you're going to buy a house, do your bloody research, right? Rather than being an arse that's just going to moan about it all the time. Because they built these houses, people would move into them, right? Next to a 5 mile, pretty much, well, actually, it was about 4 miles of campus. And they'd move into the little village right on the strip that walks into that campus. So after you've gone in your first year, where I went, lovely university, like lovely little town. But of course, the houses near the uni are going to be student houses.
Yeah.
Don't move on the same street and then complain about students. Don't move next to a football ground and moan about football.
Don't log on to Facebook and go, I'm sick of the football ground. Well, the football ground was here a lot longer before you moved in 2 years ago.
It's entitlement. It's a British thing now. Unfortunately.
But it's a difficult one because paying people to have the houses knocked down is difficult, and then trying to find land to rebuild somewhere else is difficult. It's not easy. Ideally, I'd like to
No, I'm not saying I'd like that, to be fair. I don't necessarily want that, but it's the only way I can see it happen.
I'd like to see us stay where we are, but expansion of that area is just not feasible.
Unless you did... This would be really expensive. You've mentioned it before. What if we ever bought Hillsborough Park?
Yeah, that would be expensive.
Yeah, because you know why? Do you know what you could do? Right, and I don't know if this is logistically work because you got the Don going through. But if you could come up with some sort of, you could expand the ground. I'm thinking tunnel. I'm thinking you build over.
Well, I've always thought that. I've always had the thing is that you buy Hillsborough Park. You either keep Hillsborough where it is and have that at training facilities, or other way round, you have the training facility where Hillsborough is now, and then you have that one big massive stadium.
Or
can you tell neither one of us will do architecture or anything like that?
Or do you because there's a lot of main roads around Hillsborough, do you just make them into sort of underground areas and put a lot of the industry? It'd be so much money, it's easy just to move. Right? But it has been done. You have seen that there is occasional football grounds where they kind of build like a little tunnel where the cars can still pass through, and things like that. It just costs an absolute fortune.
I just realised I just described the Man City training setup. I apologise, because that's basically what Man City is. No,
Man City's ground is ideal for them. I'll go to gigs at the Etihad anytime because it's easy to park, it's easy to sort. It's brilliant.
Yeah,
it's brilliant for that. Okay, thank you, Jake. Next comment is from Jake Gallagher. Nice, easy, quick one. This one.
John Gallagher.
Probably we could turn into a debate.
John Gallagher, not Jake.
John Gallagher. I said John Gallagher. I said thank you, Jake. Now to
you said Jake Gallagher.
Too many Jakes. Too many Jakes. The age-old question: Messi or Ronaldo? You can go first.
Ronaldo.
Oh my God, we agree, and that's going to annoy a lot of people. What's your reason for Ronaldo? Before I say mine?
Find Ronaldo a better player. I think he is a little bit more greedy, but he's a little more of a team player. I also had the whole thing is Messi's never done it for country. And I think when you've got that whole ye-old, he had that thing where when it didn't work for your country, he went, right, I'm not playing for you again, see ya. Ronaldo just gone, you know what, I'll just carry on until I keep going. And Ronaldo, for me, seems like a better person than Messi. I feel like Messi's a little bit arrogant.
Personal, Jake.
Even though Ronaldo comes across as arrogant, you hear interviews and you see some of the stuff he does, and it's not. He seems like a very humble...
Well, let's just do football terms. I get what you mean. I see that. For Ronaldo, for me, do you remember, I don't know if you ever heard this, but Fergie said a long time ago, you could put Messi, if you put Messi in a different team, he'd still need the good players around him.
Yes.
He'd make something happen and links it up.
Yeah.
And he can score goals, but you could put Ronaldo in Millwall, and he'd still score a crap ton of goals.
Yeah, very
right.
Much so.
That is, I don't think that was Fergie's exact quote, by the way, but he said something very along those lines that you could put Ronaldo in
any team and he'd be fine. Messi's got to have the right players around him.
Yeah,
and I think
Messi. That's why I want to see him at Man City as well, because Messi would fit Man City's system so well. So
he's a free agent end of the season.
It would be absolute filth to see Messi in that Man City setup. And part of me has said I don't want the Man City dominance to carry on because it's going to become boring. But it's.
I've always wanted to kind of see what would happen if Messi and Ronaldo were in the same team, how they'd get on.
This is the thing. There's rumours. They're very much rumours. But would you rather see Messi in that City team, or because PSG have got a crap ton of money, they buy Ronaldo, they sell Mbappe, right, to fund all this, to fund the wages and things, and do. They buy Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Messi goes to them on a free agent.
Yeah.
So they've got a front line of Messi, Neymar, and Ronaldo.
That's just not fair.
I'd love it. I would love that to happen. Because,
but could you also see it next season? Because there is also talk of this: Messi at City, Ronaldo back at United. Had that kind of spark again.
Yeah. I don't know if United have got the same draw to bring Ronaldo back, unless it's his last stop. But I think Ronaldo will go to the MLS. I think he wants the big show.
He wants to do like a Zlatan.
Yeah, unless he has said he plans to play into his 40s, or until he's 40. So he could go back to Man United and then go to the MLS.
If we're going to go on a Wednesday link, he's best mate with Semedo. So there you go.
Semedo, yeah. He is indeed. Okay,
I'd like to see what other people's other opinions on that one is.
Yeah, definitely. That's going to be a debate in the comments. So, thank you for your topics. Appreciate them. Help us. Please post more next week. Upcoming matches. So, next up, for when you're watching this. If you are watching this when the podcast comes out on that Sunday, as a lot of you do in full, thank you very much. Cardiff at home. So, Cardiff are currently 8th in the Championship. They have got 16 wins, 10 draws, 12 losses on 58 points, 1.353 per game. We play them away? No, home. We play them at home. So their home record...
Didn't we win that game? Was that our opening game of the season?
We did win that, yeah. So their home record is 25 points. They're not been great at home. 7 wins, 4 draws, 8 losses. Not been great at home. Their away record is 33 points, 9 wins, 6 matches, 6 draws, 4 losses. So they are very good away from home, and they're playing us at Hillsborough. They've scored 55 goals this season, only conceded 37. So they've got a positive of 18. Yep. And their last match out was a 1-0 win at Swansea City. That's possibly changed with Good Friday. So you can check that out. Yeah, because they played Forest.
Both won, I believe.
Oh, interesting. If that's the case.
Yeah, Bowie won 1-0.
Okay, cool. So that means that's a chance for Wednesday, I guess. And their top scorer is Kiefer Moore with 16 goals, so you've got to watch out for him. But Can I just say something?
This is a Sky game, so does this mean Aidan Flint is going to be playing himself since they don't have a picture of Sam Hutchinson?
Yeah, they don't. They use Hutchinson. Yeah, that's quite funny. That's brilliant. I'm looking forward to seeing Aidan Flint be in the lineup against Aidan Flint. So, after for Cardiff, I am worried about it. We've got to watch out for Kiefer Moore. I reckon there's a
chance.
There's a chance in this if Forest have beat them.
Yeah,
and we did well against them last time.
There's
McCarthy's in charge now, isn't he?
Yeah. There's a chance with this one because they were on the high from the beating Swansea. The loss to Forest won't have gone down well. I don't think they're in a pushing for promotion now. I think it's a little bit too late in terms of the runs kind of thing. They could 58 points, but Bournemouth on 62 and Barnsley on 64.
So yes, they are pushing for the promotion.
Yeah,
then.
So they are pushing.
They are pushing for the playoffs.
But that loss on Good Friday will have hampered them, and they'll want to kind of come back, and that's where I worry.
Oh yeah, that's where Wednesday go. Here you go. So we'll see what happens with that one, and then following Saturday, the day before we see you next, is the QPR away match. Now, QPR have been a bit more inconsistent. They've got 50 points so far. Actually, no, it's 53 now. They won today. Good Friday. So
how is it close as a league this year? Jesus.
Yeah, I know. Their home record is 28 points. Their away record is 22 points. They've got a -4 goal difference, though. They concede QPR, right? It should be a -1 now. Actually, they beat Rotherham. Coventry 3-0 today. Good Friday again. If you're not watching this on Good Friday, so you won't be watching this on Good Friday. You're watching it on Sunday, and brain's gone. End of podcast. So before that, they drew 1-1 at Reading. They've been inconsistent. They have got array of goal scorers, so they don't score a lot of goals. They score 39. We haven't scored that many, but they've got Elias Chair, who's got 7 for them. Their top scorer. Charlie Austin and Lyndon Dykes, they're both on 6. That might have changed today with the 3 goals. Let's have a look. So QPR played today. Obviously, we closed this document before it all happened. So Chair's now got 8 goals. Yeah. So Chair scored, and it was Willock and Michael Rowe's own goal for... Coventry got an own goal as well. Yeah. So QPR are going to be one that you say they've not really got anything to play for. They don't really. That could be a curveball for us. They've beat Coventry quite well, despite having nothing really to play for other than a top 10, maybe, if they push on. So I'm worried for it. I'm worried for this week. Next time we see you, it's probably going to be a case of we can tell if we're definitely going down or not. If we lose both of these, we're down.
Yeah. And then we have to start getting ready for the Papa John trophy.
Oh, God.
I don't like Papa John's. Not very nice.
They're not great, are they? No. Sponsor us, we'll say your pizza's great.
Yeah,
I like off-brand pizza mainly.
Same.
I like sort of local takeaways. We've got one round here. I won't say what it is because it'll give away where I live. But really good pizza.
It's very nice.
Yeah, you'll have to come over when we're actually allowed, and
yes.
we'll go out somewhere and we'll have this pizza. But yeah, that is a podcast, and it should only just be about an hour and 20-ish this week, hopefully. So
Gex will get a weekend.
Hopefully, yeah, that'd be nice because I'm streaming on Monday. If you are watching this on Sunday, I'm streaming the watch along for Cardiff, so we can experience that together. Sky game as well, yeah, so you can actually have me and Sky up at the same time if you've got me on a mobile device and the Sky match up. But yeah, anything final to end on, Jake?
Have a good Easter, spend time with family, and even though the government has said everything going back to normal, be sensible or we'll be back to square one again.
Yeah, and people say I look like Jesus, so I guess I'm rising out of a cave over the weekend. So we will see you next time on Talking Wednesday. Until then, take care of yourselves. See you later.